So what advice would I give my 20-something self? That's a question that's come in, and that's what I'm talking about on today's Good Life Project Jam Session. Interesting question, right? Haven't really thought about this. I'm in my late 40s, somewhere between late 40s and late 90s. You guys can probably guess I'm a little closer to late 40s. So it's going back a little bit for me. And but I've actually been thinking about this question because it's really interesting. And I've had an amazing opportunity to work with and to mentor a lot of people over the last few years who are in their 20s. And I've been thinking, like, what am I actually telling them a lot? And how would I have changed what I did? So my mid to early 20s, I'd gotten out of college. I took a couple years off to travel and to do, I literally was, selling long distance telephone service door to door. Wow, that was a tough job. And then I went to law school, and then I was practicing law by the time I was in my late 20s. And I thought, I had to figure it all out. Like this, I had to focus in, figure out my thing, and then just dial it in and spend my whole life building that. So what would I tell my 20-something self about, at least about the way that I would build my career, that I would contribute to the world in some substantial way? And it's gonna sound a little bit odd, but I think I would tell myself, don't focus. Don't make that one thing your focus. Don't think of it as, let me just get into something and become really good and make a lot of money, whatever it is. Answer 3 questions, and do it by not committing to one thing, but actually deliberately running a series of experiments where your goal in any experiment is not to succeed. Your goal is entirely getting data, getting information. And it's designed to answer 3 questions. 1, who am I? 2, what matters to me? And 3, what am I good at or capable of getting good at? So if I spent my 20s diving deep into these questions, then it's almost like I run a series of experiments that start to fill in chunks of the puzzle so that by the time I roll into my late 20s, I have a pretty solid sense of who I am, what I care about, what I'm good at or capable of becoming really good at. Now that's going to start to set me up so that I have a very, very powerful foundation where from my late 20s to 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, beyond, because I got, 50, 60 working years of my life after my 20s. If I love what I do, and I do with most of what I do now, I can't really conceive of stopping working. So I got a lot of bandwidth left in me to work. So if I kind of look at my 20s, and if I tell my 20-something self, look at this window in your life as a way to run a series of experiments, to collect information, to gather data that tell me more about who I am, what I care about, and what I'm good at, then by the time I sort of roll through my 20s, I know so much about myself. I know so much about what I care about. I know so much about my values and my strengths and my orientations. And I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm capable of getting good at. That I very likely at that point will start to have all sorts of opportunities to coming my way that I would have no idea were even on the radar had I just picked one thing and stayed with it throughout my 20s, or picked another thing and hoped that would tell me what I want to tell, what I want to learn. So the idea, I think in my mind, if I'm looking back, and I have no regrets. I have no regrets. I have no regrets about law school, about practicing law, right? I'm in a great place in life, contributing in a way that I find engaging and meaningful, and with an amazing family who's the light, who's everything to me, and I would do nothing to change any of that. So if my path led me here, that's awesome. When I look back, if I could have gotten to certain places in terms of understanding what I want to bring to the world and what I want to draw from the world, I would run experiments. Think about the 3 questions and say, what can I do? So when I get a job, okay, the job for me is not necessarily about how successful can I become in this job, how much money can I make in this job, how big a reputation can I make in this job. This job is, what can this teach me about who I am, what I value, my strengths, my core beliefs? What can it teach me about what matters most to me in life? And what can it teach me in terms of skills and abilities and capabilities about what I like and what I'm good at and what I can get good at. And as long as I'm running experiments like that, and those are my metrics, so it's not success in one particular job or field, it's not money, it's not power, it's not prestige, but it's self-knowledge and self-mastery. If I'm running experiments with those as my metrics for success, I win no matter what. And I set myself up really early in life to be able to have such a deep sense of who I am, what matters, and where I want to go, and what I'm good at, that I can apply that now for decades and build anything extraordinary that I want. I think one of the biggest tragedies that happens in a lot of people's lives is you hit middle age with no sense of who you are, what matters to you, and what you're good at. And then you just start this exploration now. Now, better late than never, but if you can, why not start a few decades earlier? So that's my advice to my 20-something self. Maybe you'll find it interesting, maybe not. Hopefully so. I'm Jonathan Field, signing off for Good Life Project.